let's say if I'm looking at you right now, but actually the outcome I have is over there. So now you're not the person I'm talking to. That person that I actually, where I want you to go, everything will be directed to the outcome. And so if I'm unaware that I'm directing it, you will feel it. You'll say, he's not here interacting with me. He's trying to get me somewhere. And that's when I said, I bring in Newton, like every energy has an opposite and equal energy back. And that would be you saying, he's pushing me, and you'll feel it, and therefore you'll resist it.
Okay, so Andy, in this chapter, you put an emphasis on equal and opposite reactions, and how not to push, because then you can get people to push back. But for most people, expressing the passion and pushing that passion out there, it feels good. But also, it's like you're there to excite and motivate other people, and it acts kind of a sorting mechanism. Because if I'm pushing, the people who want that, they want to join me, and you have a different approach. You seem to be taking a different approach to that. Like I should stop that in a certain way, and then I should do something different, not push. Like why do you? First, do I have that right? And secondly, why would you push, or why would you suggest the different perspective or the different thing would be better?
Yeah, well, it's always context. But let's begin with the passion. So I wouldn't want you or anyone else to ever not live that passion. And as you said, there'll be a self-sorting mechanism. I mean, some people will be attracted to that, and others will be repelled by it. And so in my own life, for example, when you speak, I have to laugh, because when I first started working with my mentor, I sold everything I owned, and I moved to the Netherlands, and I told everybody how incredible what we were doing was. It was like, we are changing the world. And you could see the skepticism, you could see a lot of them were fearful that I had joined some cult, right? They were just looking him up like, Andy, are you sure about this guy? It was a lot of those discussions. And some people were really attracted to that energy. So in a way, yes, there was a self-sorting aspect to it. When I am looking at this, I'm not necessarily looking at passion. What I'm actually looking at is, where am I actually having an outcome? So let's say if I'm looking at you right now, but actually the outcome I have is over there. So now you're not the person I'm talking to. That person that I actually, where I want you to go, everything will be directed to the outcome. And so if I'm unaware that I'm directing it, you will feel it. You'll say, he's not here interacting with me. He's trying to get me somewhere. And that's when I said, I bring in Newton, like every energy has an opposite and equal energy back. And that would be you saying, he's pushing me, and you'll feel it, and therefore you'll resist it. So you can't decide, in the case of passion, will someone feel it as an invitation to join, or will they feel it as a kind of a forcing them, pushing them into something? But I would suggest that if you're aware that you're passionate, and you're okay with them not joining you, that's the balance.
Okay, so what you're suggesting is I use this in a space where, for example, I want to connect with my girlfriend, or I want to connect with a family member, where the pushing, I recognize the pushing won't be helpful, and this is just an alternative approach. So if I'm out and I do want to express that passion, and I am looking to sort people, and I'm looking to see who wants to join my cause, then don't worry about it. But if I'm wanting to have this individual connection with a person, that's where I want to consider that my pushing, I need to take a different approach.
Yeah. The exercise is called Lady Justice, these two balances of, I really want this, and it's okay if it doesn't happen. And now I'm with you again. If I really want this, and everything I do is pushing you to get there, that'll separate the two of us. And this is, again, a book about connection. It's not about where I think you should go, what would be better for you. It's like, how do I stay with you? And the only way to do that is really to embrace what I really want, not to mitigate it, not to pretend that it isn't there, fully embrace it, and then also be okay if it doesn't happen. And that's the balance.
So is that what you hope to accomplish with the exercise? Because you brought up the name.
Yeah, that's what I hope. And I mean, I'm often teased for being a Buddhist, this non-attachment. And in a way, the more I read, the more I say, yeah, I can certainly identify with that way of being, is that I don't not want. I see what I want, but I don't make that want define me. I allow it to be okay if it's not achieved. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And that, by the way, just to add, it can create some interesting dilemma, because if I'm with a very business-oriented person, they'll often tell me, Andy, so what you're saying is I shouldn't have goals. Because if you tell me it's okay if I don't achieve it, I'm not going to achieve anything. And I'll laugh, because if I'm with a salesperson, I will say the fact that you are not allowing the letting go of that goal to be okay means you're going to sell worse. They can't get their head around that. Like, how is the fact that I let go of getting this deal going to make me more likely to get the deal? It's a paradox. But the truth is that you are not an end to my means. And if I make it that I need you, the purchasing person or the individual that's buying my product, if all you are to me is someone I need so that I can get somewhere, you're not going to be very connected to me. So the absurdity of it, or the paradox, which is really hard to get your head around as a salesperson, right, is that in order for me to make it more likely that you're going to buy, I have to let go of that I need to sell it to you.
Mm. So let me because there's, that whole thing that, you let somebody go and then they come back because they then finally realize that they miss you.
Sting, my favorite artist as a high schooler.
Right. So how do you distinguish between what you're saying and that concept? I don't think that you're saying the same thing, right? Because one is like they're recognizing a loss when you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
So they get to choose to come back. So you're actually bringing them in by leaving a vacuum that they didn't recognize. I just don't think that's what you're saying. Can you clarify that?
So in this case, if you love someone, set them free.
Yeah.
So in a way, it would be, I don't have kids, but I believe that I could get really emotional right now, because my mom was the oldest of 12, and she had such a motherly instinct. And when me and my brothers were growing up, her first thing was, I want you to have your own lives. Like, it's your life. So in a way, what you're talking about is like a deep, deep love. And that love was so deep for her that when I was the last, I was the youngest, when I left, she went to become a nun. Because, it's emotional, because she couldn't give the love to us, but she knew that there was something more important for us at that moment. So then she still needed it, so she said, where can I do that? And that's where she did it. So what you're saying is that's a love, an unconditional love, which is just beauty. And I don't even know what I was talking about before, because this is more important than anything else we might have been discussing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the sharing. That's.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you bring that back to the distinction between letting somebody go and bringing them, giving them the freedom to be, giving them the freedom to, giving yourself the freedom to let them go.
Yeah, that would be the loving what I want for a person and being okay if it doesn't happen. So loving and desiring and realizing I want my child to go, be healthy and happy and marry and have a great life and all those things. And at the same time say, and it's not my life to live. So I have to be able to be okay with that. And then I just show up with them again. Because remember, if you're not at peace with either of those, then you will interact with them in a way that alienates them. And you won't even know it. They'll feel it. Everyone feels the subtle energy of someone wanting them to do something they're not doing. They don't feel adequate enough. They don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. Most people with one or both of their parents will have that feeling like they don't really know me. And I think one of these moments of our greatest growth is when we have that self-love. They don't know me and it's okay. And that's letting go of the idea that they should or need to know you.